Welcome, dear parents, teachers, and students, for showing up here. Today, I'm going to start my presentation by saying, we've all been here. It's 2 a.m., and you're staring at your textbook, trying to desperately cram all the information, historical dates, formulas, equations into your mind. But you all know with 100% certainty that the moment you walk out that exam room, your brain is going to forget it all. Those who have experienced this, please. Thank you. I know I'm not alone in this because whether you're 15 or 50, we've all been the same student. We've all faced the same pressure. And in that moment, we aren't students. We're part of a transaction. We give 10 hours of misery for a machine to give us a graded paper. We give the school our time just to get a GPA. But the problem is, the GPA is the only thing we take home. The actual knowledge, we leave that under the table. Hello again, my name is Bella. You can also call me Nguyen Hoang Thien, and I come from class 8B. I've come here to talk about the problem that most students struggle with, chasing grades. And I want to give you a better and simpler solution, chasing why. Continuing on, the average students follow 3 steps. First, they memorize possibly everything they can. Second, they speak out or write out the thing that they just learned without actually understanding anything. And then lastly, they inevitably forget about all of it. I call this the rental problem. The rental problem is like when you rent a house. You sleep there, you walk the halls there, but you certainly do not care about the foundation of the house. You do not care about which brick is used to do the house. You just care enough for the house to look good so you can get your security deposit by the landlord. I'd like to think of grades as a map. It tells you exactly what to do. Give me 3 sources and you get an A. Give me, memorize this and memorize that. But what happens when the road is blocked or the map is outdated? You get lost. And this is where the why comes in. It acts as a terrain, and once you get to know the terrain, you can find your way back home easily without having to rely on a piece of paper and to tell you what to do. Next, I think that rubrics create a hidden ceiling on all of us students. And look, the system is like this. We treat it as a value for numbers, and I've done the same thing by trying hard to just learn the what and not the why. But just look at this. This is an actual slide from one of my subjects telling me what to do. And yes, it's about the Black Death, a very fascinating subject that let me do interactive elements in order to connect with the audience more. But the moment my brain and my eyes looked at those 2 words, at least 5 research facts with sources, at least 1 map or diagram, at least 1 chart, graph or timeline, at least 1 interactive element. I stopped thinking about how do I make this the most interactive and most exciting experience for the audience. I just started thinking, how do I have enough interactive elements? Is this enough? Can I stop doing the project now? And yes, the teachers give us the rubrics with good intentions. They want us to have a floor to start on and know what to do. But because our growing anxiety for grades and have our obsession with it, we treat it as a ceiling. And this is certainly not good. And it's just like checking off a grocery list, which suppresses the potential and creativity of many students. Think of facts like loose bricks, like equations, historical dates, formulas, etc. And once you stack all of those loose bricks on top of each other, it forms a wall. But the moment you don't have the cement, the life puts little pressure on it and it all comes crumbling down. And the why in here will be the cement, sticking all the bricks together and not letting it fall. Because the why helps information stick in our mind and not let us forget it. It is for stories navigating or narrating our life, and humans' mind are built for stories, not spreadsheets. Look, I'm not here to give you a lecture about how grades don't matter. It certainly do. And once it is the open door for many opportunities like colleges, universities, and jobs. But the moment you walk into that room, the bosses won't give you a rubric or hand you problems on a multiple choice paper. You're going to get a website that won't launch, or products that's glitchy, or customers that mad. And if you don't know the what, the why, you're doomed. And if you know it, it is certainly more easier for you to solve the problem because you already know the structure and integrity of the thing. Be the architect. An architect knows not only knows where the walls go, they know why they go there. And once you stop thinking, how do I pass this, and start thinking, why does this happen? Why does it work like that? You stop being a passive consumer of education and start being a creator of it. So how do you possibly do this while homework are piling up on top of one another? First, well, you have to question the default, find the story, and lastly, ask why. If you're learning about photosynthesis, don't just remember the cycle or the equation. You have to ask, why does this make the Amazon forest the lungs of our Earth? This will further make you understand photosynthesis more and make the process easier to learn. And also, imagine you're explaining this to a 5-year-old. And if you can't imagine yourself doing that without having any slip-ups, that's your cue to learn more and understand more instead of just learning, memorizing it as it is. To conclude, education is supposed to be a transformation, not a transaction between student and school. It is supposed to change your perspective on how bricks are, textbooks, and grades. And once that happens, school will stop feeling like a chore and start being fun. So, next time you sit down to study for the person that's in the mirror, not the person who's sitting down to grade your paper with a red pen. And once that happens, the trajectory changes because grades are just a number on a paper, while curiosity is the engine that keeps the world going. And if you take one thing away today, let it be this: intrinsic motivation. Study for yourself and not for any other being. Stop chasing the score and start chasing the spark. Thank you very much and have a good day.